Brad, can you hear
There we
me?
go.
Okay.
Hey, yep, can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and start the presentation. Thanks a lot for having us. Yeah, like Megan said, my name is Brad Traylor. I'm one of the engineering managers here. We got Adam Jaycock. He's also one of the engineering managers here at Podium. Started. All right, Megan, are you guys able to see that okay?
Yep, it looks great.
All right, awesome. So we're here to talk to you guys a little bit about Podium and specifically with our engineering department. Got a quick little presentation for you, and then we'd love to get questions, answer anything we can for you. Quick little agenda of what we're going to cover today. We wanted to tell you a little about Podium, where we started 4 years ago and where we're at today. Give you a company overview, just kind of going along with our growth, and go into a little bit more detail about our engineering department, and then we'd love to answer any questions you guys have. So first thing we wanted to share this video with you. It's a quick little 2-minute video telling you about Podium, so we'll start there. Maybe.
Most businesses don't have a great way to make it
Good.
Most businesses don't have a great way to their customers. We also help them generate trust online by having their customers share their experiences on platforms that matter.
One of the problems we're trying to solve here at Podium is just opening up the communication channel between the customer and the business.
Businesses know that consumers aren't likely to trust, commercial on TV, but they are likely to trust the voice of other people.
The greatest benefit of working at Podium, I think, is seeing the impact that you're having. In other places that I've worked, like you just throw your code over the wall, you don't see it getting delivered. Here, we get to watch how it impacts our customers directly. We get to visit our customers. Like we can see the impact that we're having on them by delivering new features, a new integration.
Startup life is pretty tough sometimes. You're going to work really hard, and the exciting thing though is that you get that gratification of seeing what you do having an impact.
My favorite part about Podium's culture would be the people and the openness feel. I feel like when I come in every morning, I get to see my friends. It's fun to have that open environment where people you work with, you care about them, they care about you.
For people that are motivated and that want to work and want to get their hands dirty, you're not told exactly what you need to do day in, not micromanage.
The Podium experience has given me the right amount of confidence to take on challenging tasks. It's always urging me to do better every day.
I really think the best part about working at Podium is we give people autonomy. We give them a crucial role in the business. So every person that's here is 100% needed to accomplish our mission. It's a really exciting time to be a part of Podium.
All right. So a little bit about our story. We got Adam here, and he's going to tell us kind of where Podium started.
Sure. I don't know if any of you guys caught in that video at the beginning when Eric, the CEO, was talking. Holdy, who I believe is at Lambda, he was like walking in the background. So, and if any of you guys know Ryan Holdway, anyway, that was him. But cool. So Podium, like this slide says, all started with a tire shop in Canada. So Eric's dad owned this tire shop, and it's a great company, great business. Focuses a lot on customer service and having a great experience. The problem is with online reviews, you typically tend to get people that are angry that leave reviews. There's just, for some reason, is more of an incentive for angry people to lash out online than there is for those who are happy customers to share their feedback. And so what was happening is his tire shop was not getting the reviews that he wanted, not getting the business that he wanted, because his online presence, his star rating with Google and other places was not very high. And so Eric wanted to solve this problem. So he started reaching out to the various customers that had been through, that were, had good experiences, and said, hey, would you be willing to leave a review? And they're like, well, it's kind of a pain. So he came up with this idea that he would send them a text message with an easy link that they could go through a flow and leave a review on Google. Really simple, nothing that's like rocket science, but it had a huge impact on the business. They were able to get all of these reviews from great customers who had great experience, but had just never taken the time to leave the reviews. You continue to get negative reviews, but it was balancing it out to where all of a sudden his star rating was shooting up. Customers were finding him online, on Google Maps, and it had a huge impact on the business. And so Eric, with the entrepreneurial mind that he is, basically said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can make this into a product that can help other businesses. And so him and Dennis, the two co-founders, they basically started building this really, really rough, kind of hacked together product that was simply just send a text message with an easy flow to leave a review on Google or Facebook, and then pull in some of the data about that. And they started going door to door, knocking and selling, and they had a lot of success selling it to dealerships and to service companies, and these companies were loving it. And so that kind of was what that product, and the growth of that product took Podium the first couple of years to being a pretty big part of Utah, big part of the US in terms of like a SaaS product and the presence that we had. And then the cool thing was we started to see that with this initial text message that went out, customers were responding back and asking questions and wanting to provide additional feedback, wanting to schedule appointments, all of this kind of two-way communication that at the beginning it was just a single one-way, just ask for a review. And so what we did was we decided that we would provide the tooling necessary so that customers could be able to communicate back and forth in a convenient way over text message. And that turned into our Messenger product, which has become a platform. And so now businesses are able to talk with their customers in a way that is more convenient for their customers. A lot of people don't want to sit on hold waiting for a phone call, but they're happy to shoot a text message over. And so that has kind of taken us from like 2 years ago until now to where we're building out a lot of stuff on top of this Messenger platform, where businesses can talk to their customers via Google Messenger, Facebook Messenger, still using SMS. There's automations around that for scheduling appointments. There's ways that they can collect feedback so that they can learn how to make their business better. There's a lot of different things that have come out of that learning and that understanding. We're doing stuff with payments where businesses can send requests to get payments. So that platform has allowed us to really grow into kind of the success that we've had. But again, it all gets back to that idea of how do we help these local businesses have a more convenient and modern experience with their customers.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it, man. So moving over next. So company overview, and kind of tell you where we're at now. So like Adam mentioned, Podium started in 2004, and it was one engineer, and then our two co-founders, Dennis and Eric. And we've grown a bit since then. But before we get into kind of the size and stuff of our company, just want to let you know, or kind of let you guys in on some of the awards we've won recently. We've been in the best places to work the past couple of years, most recently this year. We're part of the Forbes Fast 50, and then also on the 100 Best Cloud Companies. And most recently, we just got named one of the world's most innovative companies. So where we're at today, we've got over 400, almost 500 full-time employees. Currently right around 80 in engineering. We have over 30,000 customers, and kind of a fun fact, it was really eye-opening when we got this research back, but 1 in 7 phones in the US are using Podium right now. Some of the products we offer, our reviews product, our customer messenger, and web chat. We do have other products that we offer to our customers, and more on the way. So talking a little bit about our R&D department, and the reason why I included product on this is one of the big bases of our culture is we have all cross-functional teams, so it's not separate orgs where product's over here and engineering's over here. We're intertwined constantly. So our teams consist of anywhere from 4 to 6 devs. We also have a product manager and a UX embedded on the team, so that makes up the whole team. And then we also have a DevOps and data scientists. They're not dedicated to one team. They usually float between 2 and 3 teams, but that's how we operate. So like I mentioned, we got our cross-functional teams. Tying in with our culture here, we're big on, we call them running experiments. We don't like to be stuck in our ways. We like to always expand and challenge ourselves. So we do have usually monthly, at least quarterly, but usually monthly hackathons. And kind of tying with our cross-functional teams, we look at all our teams as autonomous. So we don't set a date to say, hey, here's the day you're going to do your hackathon. Like, we leave it up to the teams. They get to choose how their product is developed and when they have the time to run an experiment. Getting into our tech stack. So we work in Elixir on our back end, which is based off of Erlang. It's somewhat similar to Ruby, but we just found out last month that we are the largest Elixir shop in the world. So there's no other company using that has more devs writing Elixir code than Podium. We're React on our front end, and we use Postgres as our database, and then we have GraphQL for all our microservices and our API endpoints. I'm not going to go over this word for word. I just want to put this up here. These are our engineering values. So these are when we hire and we bring people onto Podium, these are the ways we're expected to work. Some of the biggest ones that stood out to me when I started here at Podium was being a multiplier. We don't silo people. We don't mandate, hey, you have to pair or you have to do this and that, but we want knowledge spread, but we don't want it to just be siloed within one person or one team. So collaboration and communication is huge here at Podium, and yeah, helps us work a lot more efficiently. So pulling into Podium with our growth right now, honestly, we're hiring every position you can imagine, but these are some of the ones that I thought would be most relevant to this group. Within engineering, we're hiring full stack engineers. We're looking for React Native specific engineers. So if anybody has any interest in that, trying to expand on our security team, and then Salesforce engineers. Through marketing up here, because our marketing team, they actually have their own separate engineering team that is also part of our engineering department, writes code, but they do more marketing specific things. And then with product, we're hiring every position over there, for whether it be from product managers, data analysts, and UX designers. So Megan, that's all we got if we want to hop in the Q&A.
Okay, great. 1 second to pull this up here. All right, can you talk a little bit about how you decided to join Podium? What convinced you that it was the right place for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had Jake Source join me. He's another one of our engineering managers. I'll let him take that first question.
Yeah. So I came from a dev boot camp. I taught at DevPoint Labs here in Salt Lake City. I was there for almost 4 years, and I rebuilt their whole curriculum from the ground up. I was fully invested in the future of that boot camp, and unfortunately the owners weren't. And so it forced me to start looking for other opportunities, and threw my resume out everywhere. I've got about 10 years of experience in software. And so I had 7 offers in front of me from many companies in the Valley, and I chose Podium. One of the many reasons why I chose Podium was the initial interview with everybody, the CTO, the senior engineers, the junior engineers, like everybody that I met with was just so genuine and humble and on the same page, and wanted to have the, was working towards the same goals. I get this question a lot with candidates that we call, and they say, without thinking too hard about it, what is the one thing that you love about Podium? And I've been in many software companies where senior engineers are held on a pedestal, and you feel like you can't talk to them, and you feel like you're asking stupid questions to them, and there is none of that here at Podium. You can approach the most senior DBA, the most senior engineer, the most senior architect, and they'll take their headphones off, and they'll jam with you, and they're willing to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And that's what I love most about Podium, and that's what brought me here.
And I'll just kind of add on to that. I mean, really, what got myself and a majority of people here at Podium is the people you got to work with. Hands down, it's the best in the business from a culture standpoint. And I kind of went into our engineering culture, but you take it at the whole company level. And this is something that I've never been a part of, but how open our company is. So, for example, every Monday we have a town hall meeting run by our executives. Usually it's our CEO, Eric. He hops up on stage, and there's no questions off limits. We always know where sales numbers are. We know if something's screwed up in the product. We know, I mean, there's no siloing of knowledge, like I mentioned, within engineering, and it's within the whole company. So the people, and then I got to get a plug in for our swag. If you guys know anybody that works at Podium, we always have Podium stuff here. You walk around the office, it's hard to see someone not wearing something Podium on.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I know all the students know who Jeff is, and Jeff went over to Podium and said that he's never seen swag like theirs. So
I've never been a part of a software company that has literal collections that come out every season. Like it's just insane, and everything's Podium branded. So down to the tags in our jackets all say Podium and everything, and it's pretty crazy. I'm like, how are these guys doing it? They must have some crazy promo company connection or something, No,
it's awesome. I mean, I see it around all the time. All right, where do you see Podium in the next 2 to 5 years?
On top of the world. We're a very rare, I hate using the word unicorn, but we're a rocket ship that's going through successes and solving challenges that no one else has before. I kind of threw that out there with some of the awards we've won. We're in very honored company. So where do we see ourselves in the next couple of years? Honestly, just building on what we have. We're a top-notch software company. No one can do what we do, and so staying on top of that mountain is where we'll be.
Yeah, I think that a more personal story of where I see Podium or myself in the next 2 to 5 years, I would give you a little background. So I started about a year and 2 months ago. And I started as just an individual contributor, software engineer on our web chat project. And within 3 months, I made team lead. Within 4 months after that, I was engineering manager over 4 teams. So if you're driven, if you're hungry, if you kick ass here, then you have the sky's the limit as far as where you can go here. And the other thing that I really loved was in my initial interview, I told our CTO that I wanted to be a team lead eventually. And he was like, I'll put you on that path. And it wasn't just lip service for me. And that's what I love. Every time somebody's told me something was going to happen or that they do something for me, it always happens. It's not just oh yeah, I'll do that to shut you up. Right. And I love that. So I think that as long as I can work hard, I can be whatever I want to be at Podium. And I think that speaks to a lot of people, what a lot of people want in the job.
Definitely. All right. If a Lambda grad joined tomorrow, what project would they be working on?
What do they want to work on? That's one thing that with our devs, when you get hired on, you don't get hired onto a specific team and you're married there and you stay there the rest of your life. We try and hire and delegate, or not delegate, but put engineers on teams where they have the most interest working. So whether it be maybe I mentioned for the most part, we're all on the same tech stack, but it could be within a similar, or excuse me, a specific product, or the way, like I mentioned, our autonomous teams of the way a specific team works. We try and work you over that way. If you don't get there initially, and you know, we definitely support the, I don't know, what do you call it, the cross-pollination in our engineering department.
Yeah.
Like I said, no one person's married to a team.
Yeah, what I like to do when I'm on the phone with a candidate is I like to feel like where their skills are. So if they're really heavy front end or really heavy back end or full stack, I like to like really within 20 minutes know what team I would try to put them on if they join Podium. Because I want them to not only be bought into that team, but I want them to be able to provide almost instant like value to that team. And so if we have a team that needs some React Native devs or needs some heavy front end, we'll put them there. They can provide instant value there, and then they can level up their Elixir skills and their full stack skills. And then once they feel like they're good there, they can tell us like, hey, I feel like I'm not super passionate about this product. I feel like I'm really passionate about payments, and let's work you towards that team.
Great. What type of side projects make you go wow when reviewing a potential hire?
Side projects that just are wow, right? Like when you look, even if you look at like if you're not a software engineer and you look at a side project just as a regular person, you know what a project feels like that like has time and passion put into it, and you know what a project looks and feels like that doesn't. And so it's almost just like a feel for me. It's like, did the person, like the side projects that people bring into us are because they want to be here, right? And so when somebody asks me that on the phone and they're like, well, how much time should I take on this side project? Or how much time should I take on this coding assessment? It's like, and I tell them, well, this is the last piece to get you into our door, right? And so put as much time and effort and passion into this project as you feel like you would put at work, right? Because that's where it shows, and that's where it's like, that's the type of employee you're going to be.
Yeah, and just kind of add on to that, it's really, I don't want to call them the simple things, but it's easy to tell if you put passion into your work, like Jake was saying. For example, if you're displaying some type of web page and it's you know, pumping out some sort of data, if you're giving me 1,000 rows of data, is it all on one page, or are you giving me easy pagination? If you're giving me pagination to go through it, I can tell this person cares about the end user experience, and they put the time and effort to put those controls in place to make it a better experience.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that.
Definitely. Great. And then last question, what does onboarding look like for you guys?
So there's a couple of pieces of onboarding. The first day that you start with us, you have about a half a day of onboarding. And that's just generalized, like we'll have like a SVP of sales come in and talk about our product and how they look and talk and pitch the product. We have like our CPO, our Chief Product Officer, come and talk about product vision. We have our IT department come and set you up with your computer and your Slack and just like your general services that you need. And then it's a really quick, compared to most companies, I've heard it's a very quick onboarding process, and then it's just off to the races, right? As far as what onboarding looks like team-wise, I'm sure Brad has touched on it a little bit. Every team operates differently here. And so depending on the team that you join, you may be pairing with somebody right off the bat. You may be just, you know, throwing a little bug task. We have onboarding documentation to use like your dev environment set up. But as far as like onboarding goes, it's really just like get in and start cranking on code. That's the best way that you can get onboarded.
And I'll add a little bit onto that. So exactly like Jake said with the autonomous teams, no two teams work the exact same way, no two teams onboard the same way. Some expectations we do have. When you get to Podium and you're a dev here, within the first 1 to 2 days, you're getting your first PR up to production. So whether it be in a small bug or some type of small UI change, or I mean, it could be really anything, but you'll see your work on our product within the first 2 days of you working here. And then expanding on, I like to look at onboarding. I don't care who you are, where you are, how long you've been in the industry, if you're the greatest coder alive, no matter what, when you get to a company, a software company, and a software company that writes software properly, like Podium does, onboarding is a 3 to 6 month process. So within that first 6 months, you should be, I mean, dare I say every day here, you should be learning every day, but especially within the first 6 months. And so some things we do to help that, Every Tuesday, we have what's called Nerd Lunch, where we have one of our one to multiple of our devs will give a presentation. So we'll cater in lunch. They'll come in and they'll talk on a topic. I think, let's see, 2 weeks ago, we spoke on Kafka, some tips and tricks around it. This last Tuesday, we did a RabbitMQ demo. It can be on anything, and it's just to like I mentioned, not siloing our knowledge, but spreading that around the whole org. We do Elixir trainings every Thursday. So we have some of our more senior devs or more experienced devs within Elixir. We go through books and courses and everything, but to get you up to speed and to continue learning and continue leveling up your skill set. So one of the biggest pillars in our culture here at Podium is learning. If you can't learn, you don't want to learn, I don't know why you're in this industry, but you won't make it at Podium.
Yeah. Awesome. And then just one last question that someone asked, I think is important. What's living in Salt Lake City like?
So I'm from Salt Lake. I don't know much different, as far as a living standpoint, but I can tell you what's awesome about it. So this industry, there's not a better spot for it. And some reasons assigned to it. You might say, okay, well, Silicon Valley. You're not going to get a house and all that kind of stuff in Silicon Valley with the wages we make. So you tie that in, but it's a growing, up and coming place. If you're an outdoors person, there's plenty to do. There's city life, there's country life, we have sports teams. So if you're a sports guy like myself, you got sports to follow. There's a little bit of everything.
Way better. It's getting a little worse. Traffic's way better though. I would say that we have a PM that came over here from a company that got acquired by Snapchat, and he was living in Silicon Valley. And I asked the question. I was like, "What's the difference?" And he said, "There's really not a lot of difference. Like the hustle's still the same. Like everyone's still like developing software to the highest quality. It feels the same. Like the buildings are cool. Like everything feels the same." Except for we are way more family oriented here. So whereas people in Silicon Valley, they'll work till 6, they'll go out for dinner and drinks, and they'll go back to the office and keep working. He's like, it's really cool because I can have a family, and by 5:30, the whole floor is empty and everyone's with their family. That's not to say that we're not accountable when we're at home and we're not working when we're at home. Like we're still on Slack and we're still responsible for what we shipped before we went home. But we're not like, the culture is just different, and like when it comes to family that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I grew up in California. I never thought I'd live in Utah, and now I never see myself leaving Utah. It's great.
Yeah, I have a similar story.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, students. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're working with you guys more at Podium and hopefully getting some students in working with y'all.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.